Welcome to the Stephen Mansfield audio podcast.
I want to speak to you in this podcast out of two motivations. First of all, if you're connected to what we do at all, if you're connected to what I talk about and care about at all, then you know I care very much about the state of men in the world today. I'm concerned about the challenges facing men. I'm concerned about the decline of men. I'm concerned about the erosion of men. I celebrate the achievements of women, but I'm concerned about the decline of men today, and that's why I've written Mansfield's Book of Manly Men. It's why I do conferences all over the world. It's why I speak in media about the things that I do regarding men and the need for them to reclaim themselves in this generation. There's another motivation out of which I'm speaking in this podcast, and that is, and I have nothing to hide, so I want to tell you right up front, that I've just written a little companion booklet to Mansfield's Book of Manly Men, and it's called Building Your Band of Brothers. And that's what I want to talk to you about just for a few minutes. I am concerned that the average man today is walking alone. That is confirmed by surveys everywhere. It's confirmed by studies and psychological profiles and just observation on the street. The average man today is walking alone. He is isolated. He may have had friends and a posse, a group to hang with back when he was in high school and college maybe, but the average man is walking alone. Surveys show that the average man cannot name a best friend. The average man does not know who he would call if he were out of town to get his son out of jail if, for example, the son got a traffic ticket or something. He doesn't know who he would trust to go over and help his wife at 3 a.m. If, again, he was out of town on a business trip and his wife had some problem at the house, let's say 2, 3 a.m, who would he trust to go over there while she's running around in her nightie, and everything's all an emergency? And who does he trust morally? Who does he trust ethically? Who does he trust with competence? Who does he trust with confidence? Who can he trust in that situation? The average man in the world today is walking alone. It's why suicide rates are skyrocketing for males. It's why part of the reason that males are in decline by almost every measurable standard in the world today. And I'm committed to the idea that we can change this, that we can fix this, that the decline of men does not need to continue. I want to say quickly that I do not believe that we're in a tug of war between the genders. I do not believe that women rise only at the expense of men. No, I don't think there's one pie that's one size and we're all fighting for our percentages of it. No, I think there's an ever-expanding pie, there's ever-expanding opportunity for achievement, and we can see both men and women do very, very well. But men are in decline. And a lot of the reason is that they are walking alone. When a man today, if he even gets to the point where he's thinking about, noble manhood, he's read a good book, he's been to a conference, he's been challenged by an article or maybe something that some leading man said, when the average man begins to glimpse that he can be better and what noble manhood, or what I call great manhood, or sometimes I call it righteous manhood, ought to be, then that man normally believes he has to do it alone. He sees it as something else on a list he has to accomplish or fulfill. Well, I'm committed to the idea. I believe completely in the idea that men cannot do noble manhood on their own, that men need a band of men around them who help them, who see them, who understand what needs to change, who care about them, who will confront them, who will challenge them, who will inspire them. I believe that we've got to reclaim the lost art of building a band of brothers. Hundreds of years ago, our ancestors grew up in community and therefore had a band of brothers almost built in. Families were, for the most part, large. People lived in villages. People lived as part of tribes. People lived as part of fiefdoms or regions. And the men banded together to hunt and to build and to defend and to do the things that needed to be done, to govern. So a man almost always was born into a band of brothers, and someone who walked alone was actually suspect. And I'll tell you about more of that in the book. I won't go into it now. Today, though, that's not the case. Normally, a young man has a group. He has his buddies. He's got his posse. He's got his friends, and that all serves him well through high school and college. But as he gets older, as he gets a job, as he gets married, as he has children, as he has responsibilities, he loses contact with his friends. He loses contact with his buddies, and he starts to walk alone. And then if he even gains some understanding of what a man ought to be, he perceives it as something he's got to do by himself, where he can't. He just can't. So what is this band of brothers that I'm recommending? A band of brothers is not a therapy group. It's not a study group. It is not an accountability group. God knows what it is a band of men who are doing life together and are walking closely enough to help each other, encourage each other, to know what needs to change in each other's lives, and they eventually achieve, and this is something I describe in great detail in the booklet, they eventually achieve a free fire zone. What a man needs to have with other men is a free fire zone. It's a phrase I used, borrowed from the military, which means a group of men who have achieved a point where anything that needs to be said for them to be better will be said. That's what a free fire zone is. With my gang of guys, anything that needs to be said to make me better and for me to help make them better will be said. We're not hurting each other. We're not beating on each other. We're not trying to humiliate each other, but we are speaking into each other's lives. We're committed together to the noble project of great manhood, of righteous manhood, of noble manhood. And we have fun. We do a lot of things together, but we are also committed to this free fire zone that anything we see in each other's lives, we will address and we will help each other with. You know, the fact is that we really don't see ourselves accurately. As I say in the booklet, not long ago I was at a party and somebody snapped a picture, and later they handed me a copy of that picture, and I said out loud, "Well, who is this?" And the guy said, "Well, fool, it's you." And I looked at it and I couldn't believe it. I mean, it was just that perfect moment that maybe some of you have had pictures like this taken. I was slack-jawed. My T-shirt was stretched over my belly. I had a couple of Oreos in my mouth, probably. My neck was jammed down into my head was jammed down into my neck and into my shoulders. I just looked like Jabba the Hutt. And I began to realize that if I don't even know every way that I might look physically, if I can actually see a perspective on myself that I don't recognize physically, well, how much more can that be the case internally? I believe that of the thousands of people listening to this podcast, certainly more than half are men, and that most of you are walking alone. Most of you don't have a band of brothers, and you can. And it will make you better. It will help you become more of who you want to be to the glory of God, more of who you are meant to be, more of what you can be. Your life will be richer. Your life will be more fun, and you will be investing in others to see them accomplish what they are meant to be. And I want to say something else, too, about this, and that is one of the reasons that I'm excited about this. I certainly am excited about it just from the standpoint of men becoming fulfilled and not walking alone and achieving noble manhood to the glory of God. But I'm also excited about what this will mean for people in their professions. I'm convinced, certainly my experience in my own business life and as a consultant convinces me that the same issues that traumatize or damage you, perhaps with your children, with your wife, in other areas of your life, certainly have an effect on your business life. And most of the men I know who have committed themselves to a band of brothers, built a band of brothers, achieved that free fire zone, begun to do life together in a rich and enjoyable way, in a challenging way, they have improved dramatically professionally, because the same things that kept them from achieving elsewhere in their lives kept them from achieving in the marketplace, so to speak, in their professional lives. So I am completely committed to the idea that men need to be walking in a band of brothers. All over the world, I'm seeing this happen, and I wanted to write this little booklet as a companion to Mansfield's Book of Manly Men that would help you. Now, you'll see the links to buy this book in all of our social media. You'll see it in the description on StephenMansfield.tv of this podcast. You will not miss it if you are attending to our social media. You can make sure to connect with us on @Mansfield Writes. It's Mansfield Writes on Facebook, @Mansfield Writes on Twitter. And of course, StephenMansfield.tv. Trust me, starting by the time you hear this podcast, you will not miss it in our social media. You can buy the booklet. It's only $10, and that includes shipping. Very inexpensive. It's a short 14,000 word booklet. I think that brings it up to about 50, 60 pages. Easy reading. One evening you can read it, but it will make a change in your life. And I'm not hesitant to push this. I think you know that I don't use this podcast to sell things usually, but I'm so committed to this idea and so concerned about where most men are that I want you to get this booklet. If you don't have Mansfield's Book of Manly Men, get that too. But what we're trying to make available easily for you online with a credit card, and of course at all our events, is this little blue booklet called Building Your Band of Brothers. Don't shy away from this. Don't run from this. And those of you women listening, please don't feel excluded from this. Men will not do what their wives don't encourage for the most part. And for the most part, women are essential to their men acquiring in their lives what they need. So you should buy this booklet for the men in your life. You should encourage them. And you should, of course, absolutely be generous and sort of freeing up the time for the men in your life to build these bands of brothers and invest in them. I want to see a revolution of righteous manhood. I want to see the crises of our age resolved. I want to see boys doing better because there's a culture of noble manhood for them to be initiated into. I want to see a turnaround, not just in America, not just in the United States, but worldwide. I don't want to hear in 5 years that suicide is plaguing men over 50 in England. I don't want to hear from businessmen in Singapore when I'm there that they're walking alone and they don't feel like they have anybody who's helping them be better. I don't want to look into the empty eyes of my Filipino friends and realize they too are walking alone and also being plagued by the sexual excesses that sometimes work around the fringes of Filipino culture. I want to see noble, righteous manhood. I met with a group of Cubans and Hispanics in South Florida here recently. They want to recover a righteous version of the manhood that used to mark their society. I celebrate that. And I want them to have not just this booklet, but all the resources that are available to help them become the noble men they're called to be. And I'm going to do everything I can to spur them on. So get this booklet, Building Your Band of Brothers. And I'm not going to shy away from saying that if you haven't read Mansfield's Book of Manly Men, then get that too. Absolutely. You can also go on a page of our website. My macro website, my main website is StephenMansfield.tv. But we have a page of that website that you can access by going on greatman.us. Greatman.us. It's a page on StephenMansfield.tv, and on that greatman.us, there are all sorts of videos and resources and courses you can take. I'm simply doing everything I can do to help men become great men, and one of the main things I can do is to challenge them to stop walking alone.
Stephen Mansfield is a New York Times best-selling author, a popular speaker, and a frequent faith and culture commentator on Fox and CNN. His groundbreaking books on faith and society include The Faith of George W. Bush, The Search for God in Guinness, Mansfield's Book of Manly Men, and The Miracle of the Kurds. His new book is Ask the Question: Why We Must Demand Religious Clarity from Our Presidential Candidates, available on Amazon. Learn more about Stephen at StephenMansfield.tv. The Stephen Mansfield podcast is directed by Isaac Darnold, who also wrote, produced, and performed the podcast theme song. This is a Chartwell Literary Group production.